Hi, third graders. This is Mrs. Oyster, and I am going to read to you Domain Lesson 6. And this lesson is about reptiles. Notice the title is Reptiles, Cold-Blooded, Scaly Vertebrates. Now, before we begin, let's review what we've learned. So, previously we talked about amphibians. What makes amphibians unique? Well, there's a few things, but one is they spend part of their life in water and part on land. Amphibians start as a tadpole with gills, fins, and live fully in the water. Then they slowly develop lungs and legs and spend the rest of their life on land. So, what are some of the characteristics of amphibians? Amphibians start as an egg. They have moist, slimy skin that helps them breathe. They're cold blooded and they are vertebrates. So, today I want you to listen carefully to find out more about the characteristics that taxonomists use to classify salamanders and lizards differently. Remember, salamanders are amphibians and lizards are reptiles. So, think of ways that they are alike, but also ways they are different. Hello, boys and girls. Anna anaconda is our starting place for today's lesson. She is a green anaconda, one of the largest snakes in the world. When she unwinds, she is about as long as 6 of you, stretched head to toe across the room, and she weighs about 500 pounds. That's more than about 8 of you put together. Anna anaconda belongs to a group of animals that shares a lot of the same characteristics as the amphibians you learned about last time. How do taxonomists classify snakes? Snakes are reptiles. Reptiles include crocodiles, alligators, lizards, turtles, and tortoises. But right now, I want to focus on one reptile only, Anna. In spite of her heavy body, Anna is a very good swimmer. Unlike some of her reptilian relatives, she is an aquatic snake, preferring swamps and rivers to the land. So, question: What animal group are snakes classified as? Some snakes are poisonous, releasing poisonous liquid called venom when they bite. Anna's teeth are actually quite small and she is not venomous. Some people fear anacondas because they are members of a family of snakes called constrictors. Constrictors catch and kill their prey by coiling or wrapping around them and squeezing them very tightly. Anacondas' jaws open so wide that they can swallow animals whole: fish, caiman, even jaguars, and small deer. The anaconda's powerful muscles crush the bones of its prey as it constricts. Once swallowed, the anaconda slowly digests its meal. She and all anacondas are nocturnal animals and they hunt at night, eating frogs, toads, birds, fish, and turtles. She doesn't have to hunt very often because one animal will satisfy her appetite for a long time. Well, that's a lot of information about Anna's characteristics and how she belongs to the animal class called reptiles. Anna and other reptiles share some common characteristics with amphibians. Many scientists believe reptiles evolved from amphibians. Reptiles are all vertebrates because they all have backbones. And they are all cold blooded because their internal temperatures change with their surroundings. Most reptiles can adjust their body temperatures by basking in the sun to stay warm or by hiding under a rock to stay cool. So, what are two characteristics that you just heard that amphibians and reptiles share? Like amphibians, reptiles live on land and in water. However, these two groups do have their differences. Amphibians depend upon water to stay alive, more so than reptiles. Amphibians' thin, wet, slimy skin needs moisture to absorb oxygen from the air, but reptiles' skin is waterproof. Unlike toads, reptiles do not breathe through their skin, which is hard, dry, and scaly. They use only their lungs to breathe air, which means they are able to withstand very harsh, dry weather, conditions under which amphibians would not be able to survive. Also, because they have lungs, reptiles cannot stay underwater very long without coming to the surface to breathe. Now, notice at the top it says that reptiles live on land and in water. So the term for that is semi aquatic. That means they spend part of their time on land and part in water. Amphibians usually spend part of their lives entirely in water, but this is not true of reptiles as a group. Whereas amphibians begin life with gills, reptiles are born with lungs and are never dependent upon gills for breathing. Remember how different baby tadpoles look from adult toads? This is not the case for reptiles. Baby reptiles usually look a lot like their parents. They do not undergo metamorphosis the way that amphibians do. So, notice another difference between amphibians and reptiles is that reptiles are born with lungs and they do not go through metamorphosis. Let's take a look at some of the animals that belong to the animal group classified as reptiles. These include lizards, geckos, iguanas, and chameleons. Unlike snakes, most lizards have four legs. Chameleons have a keen sense of sight and very long tongues. Their brilliant colors, all shades of pink, blue, red, orange, turquoise, and green, help them camouflage when they come face to face with their enemies. Earth's largest living lizard is the Komodo dragon. It can grow to be 10 feet long and may weigh as much as 150 pounds. These giant island carnivores eat animals as large as goats, pigs, and deer. Saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptiles on Earth, some weighing up to 1 ton. Looking like very large lizards, crocodiles make their homes in tropical climates and are often seen floating like logs in the water, with only their nostrils, eyes, and ears showing. Like Anna, they are nocturnal hunters, hunting at night. Crocodiles have the most powerful bite in the entire animal kingdom and are fierce hunters, living off fish and small mammals. Some live to be more than 100 years old. Alligators resemble crocodiles, but they are usually less aggressive or boldly forceful and live in freshwater habitats. Can you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Alligators usually have a wide, rounded, U shaped snout, and crocodiles tend to have longer, more pointed, V shaped noses. In these pictures here, the one on the left is an alligator, and the one on the right is a crocodile. Look at all of these reptiles side by side: chameleons, Komodo dragons, crocodiles, and alligators. What do you notice about their skin? Remember that reptiles' skin is waterproof and that it is hard, thick, and scaly. Their type of scaly skin protects them from overheating, and because their skin is waterproof, it keeps water inside their bodies. Because reptiles' skin is very sensitive to temperature, it becomes hot or cold very quickly. Like many amphibians, some reptiles shed their skin. Many lizards and snakes shed their skin several times a year as they grow. Snakes do not eat their shed skin the way amphibians do. So a reptile's skin is different than an amphibian's. How is it helpful to have hard, scaly, and waterproof skin? How is that helpful to a reptile? Body coverings are an important difference between amphibians and reptiles. Another difference is their eggs. Amphibians lay thousands of soft eggs in places like ponds, but most reptiles lay far fewer eggs and they lay their eggs in nests on land. Soft outer coverings provide protection and also help to hold in necessary water for eggs to grow, usually coating the inside of the eggs. Most reptiles, the eggs are also covered in leathery calcified shells. A few snakes and lizards give birth to live young instead of laying eggs. The garter snake, a snake that is right here in North America, is one of the few exceptions to the rule. Turtles and tortoises are the only reptiles with bony shells as part of their skeletons. Their backbones are fused to their shells. These shells may be flat or domed. Turtles have softer shells so that they can swim faster, but land dwelling tortoises need hard, leathery shells to protect them from predators. Their legs vary depending on where they live as well. Sea turtles have oar shaped flippers for moving through water effectively. Many turtles have claws which help them dig. Pond turtles also have webs between their claws to move through water. Land tortoises have huge column shaped legs with claws. These help them dig into the ground to move. Some turtle species live for more than a century. This word effectively means to be well done with purpose and success. So it says that their oar shaped flippers help them move effectively. It means they can move through the water easily with purpose and success. Like amphibians, reptiles live all over the world. They prefer hot, low areas like rainforests, prairies, deserts, and oceans, but they can be found everywhere except near the cold South Pole. Now, remember what you know about cold blooded animals. Why do you think reptiles are not found in the cold South Pole? If you are fascinated with reptiles and amphibians, you may want to think about becoming a herpetologist. This is the name given to a scientist who specializes in herpetology, the study of certain crawling animals, specifically reptiles and amphibians. With more than 5,600 species of lizards alone, that should keep you busy for a lifetime. You have seen and learned a lot about fish, amphibians, and reptiles, but there are still two major groups of vertebrates for you to learn more about. Next time, we will learn all about Ebenezer egret. Okay, class. So that's the end of our reptiles read aloud. I want you to think about what you have just learned about reptiles and what major characteristics represent animals in the reptile group. I want you to be able to list at least three. The pictures on the bottom may help you remember some.